I've been an entrepreneur since I was literally a kid. When I was 7, my dad brought home a couple dozen laying chickens. So to set the picture, I'm in absolutely nowhere, Newfoundland, Canada. And when I say nowhere, it's like the closest city was 5 hours away, okay? I think it was 8 or 9 acres of land. We didn't have a farm. He just brought home chickens. I don't even know. My parents are coming here next week. I actually got to ask them why they bought chickens. I don't even remember why they bought chickens. Maybe they don't know why they bought chickens. Maybe my dad was just in flow state one day and he was like, let's get some chickens and have a good time. And these were like little tiny chicks when they weren't like full chickens when they came home. And I was like, maybe we should sell these eggs. And it just so happened that my great-grandmother and grandfather, they just moved into a senior, like an assisted living home. And I was like, maybe I should ask the person in charge here if they'd buy my eggs. Now, in hindsight, how are you going to say no to an 8-year-old that says, hey, will you buy my eggs? You're not gonna do that. So they started buying my eggs. $2.50 Canadian a dozen. So the next year I'm like, well, I mean, this is a great business. People are buying these eggs. We're getting eggs. I don't eat eggs anymore because I ate too many eggs, but back in the day I would eat eggs. So the next year we bought 100. So now I needed more customers. So I went to the next senior assistant and they started buying all my eggs. Now this is pretty much where the end of this business went. It got a little tiny bit bigger, but at the end of the day, in Canada, you can't have, thousands of chickens without licenses and different types of things, obviously. But that was the entrepreneurial spark. I said, well, wow, if I have something that somebody wants to buy, they're going to buy it. I can convince somebody to be able to buy something if I have the ability to provide that. I was a super geek kid, okay? So the picture of me when I'm 9 or 10 years old, I'm pretty overweight, super into technology. The main thing I wanted for Christmas was a Palm Pilot. This was the time when a Palm Pilot was pretty much the entire person that was used a Palm Pilot was like an executive to take care of their calendar. Like it didn't have the ability to phone call, it had email, and it was a little bit ahead of its time, but 10-year-old kids weren't using these. Just so happened that I learned programming to try to reverse engineer and how to build games and these different types of things. So we're talking like 2001, 2002. And then it just so happened that I love talking to other people about Palm Pilots. This is so deep down the geek rabbit hole at this point. I taught myself programming to be able to use this, and then I talked to other people, and it just so happened there was only 2 other types of people. They were either executive people or people like me, geeky kids like me. So I met all these people online all over the world that were interested in Palm Pilots. Pretty rough topic to talk about, okay? And then I just so happened to build an online community of these people. Just so happened to help build one of the largest Palm Pilot communities in the world. Just so happened that then led me into modifying and building the software for communities, and just so happened to build one of the largest golf communities in the world, poker communities in the world. I learned about all these niches, and I'm about 13 at this point. I just, for whatever reason, started out with the love of Palm Pilots. Programming was kind of interesting, and it was like the wild, wild west. This was at the beginnings of, most people didn't even know what PayPal was. And so this continued on, and of course, by the time I was 16, I had $1 million business, modifying this community form software and building websites and, really doing anything that programming and HTML and CSS and MySQL and building content management systems. Back in the day, I literally had a competitor. We were working on a competitor to what WordPress turned into. And I didn't focus on that. I focused on other things, and it was really to be a competitor to WordPress. It was like way, way back. When someone's like, well, what created that entrepreneurial spirit? I think the truth is some entrepreneurs are just born. And seeing, my son, seeing kids around him, I can see how he is, and I see other people, the way that he observes a room. No other kids doing that in the room. And I see another kid and they're climbing over things and just absolutely wilding out, and that's pretty cool. I think there's just this certain level of nurture, and some people are just born that way. And so I think some people are born that way, and I think you can be forced into it. You don't have a choice. And I also think that you can be inspired by it. And so there's this wonderful quote, which is, it's either you're born this way, it's thrust upon you, or it's coming from inspiration. And so I think it's really important to realize that the gifts of those 3 are different. So I was a kid entrepreneur. Do I think every kid can be an entrepreneur? No. Do I think that every kid can be entrepreneurial? Yes. Do I think that every human on the planet can be an entrepreneur? No. Do I think that some people can be inspired by it? Yes. And will the person that's inspired by being an entrepreneur work differently than the person that must do it? Absolutely. And the person that must do it will operate completely different than me that was born like it. or maybe you that was born like it. And here's the difference. You may be an entrepreneur because you have to be. When I wake up in the morning, there's no other option, there's no other choice. This is what I love to do. You take the money away, I'm still gonna do it. I love it. A lot of people are entrepreneurs by necessity. And if you're an entrepreneur by necessity, it's really dangerous to look at somebody like me and compare yourself to me. Because you put $10 million in your bank account, you're going to retire. You're going to go and perhaps do the thing that you really want to do. That could be an entrepreneur. You put 10 million in my bank account and I say, well, let's do more. There's a difference. And so a lot of the entrepreneurs that you see on the Instagram or the aspirational, like the figures, they were born that way. They were born with that level inside of them. And so it's very important to realize and to know that there is a difference and that you appreciate the difference. Because if you compare yourself to somebody that literally their path on this planet is to be an entrepreneur since they were kids, you are going to compare yourself to something that might make you miserable. Because for me, it's not about, oh, well, when is enough? I don't give a shit. I have what I want in my life, but I want to create more because that's my fun. That's my passion. You know, people watch football, play football, like that's my football. People play video games, this is my video game. But if you don't feel that way, why play it to that degree? So I say all of that, and I tell you this story to share that I believe some people are just pure entrepreneurs. Like that is who they are. And I believe that some are inspired to be an entrepreneur because it allows for freedom, allows for a better life, allows you to be a reality creator. And some people, it's thrust upon them. They do not have a choice. They lost their job and they had to figure it out. But knowing which one you are and what you are truly trying to get out of entrepreneurship, they're different. They're not the same. But by respecting that and knowing yourself in that way, you don't compare yourself to someone that sees entrepreneurship as their passion versus you seeing entrepreneurship as your necessity.